Hi, students. It's Mr. Panza. Time for your decimals test. It may be a little bit different, but we're still ready to go after it. So let's start with question 1. It's an expanded form question. What is 0 and 95 hundredths equal to? Which of these shows 95 hundredths in expanded form? Number 2. What is this mixed number expressed as a decimal? Helpful hint, I boxed in the whole number for you. Number 3. Express this decimal as a fraction. Helpful hint, try and remember which digit place value this 4 is in. It will help determine the denominator. Number 4. Which number has a 5 in the hundredths place? Remember, the whole number is boxed, and 2 digits to the right are my decimal place values. Try and find the 5, which would be in the hundredths place value. Number 5. Add 9/10 plus 1 and 56 hundredths. To set up this problem, make sure you line up decimal points and fill in holes. It would look something like this on paper and pencil. 0.9 plus 1.56. Then you've got to fill in the holes to be able to add this correctly. Go ahead and do it now. Number 6, a word problem. A car travels 7 3/100 kilometers. A van traveled 1,300 kilometers less than the car. How far did the van travel? Here's what I know. The car traveled 7 3/100 kilometers. The van traveled 1,300 less than that. But we're trying to determine how far the van went. This looks like a subtraction problem. Take the 2 and subtract and fill in A, B, C, or D. Number 7. Which of the following fractions is equivalent to 7/10? Number 8 is addition and number 9 is subtraction. Let's look first at 8. Notice I've lined up the decimals for you. Do this on a separate piece of paper. Line up your decimals, fill in your holes, and add 130 hundredths plus 9 and 87 hundredths now. For number 9, it's subtraction. Notice I've lined up the decimals for you. Now just subtract 67 4/10 and 6 35 hundredths. Don't forget to fill in the holes. Let's move on to number 10. Number 10 is a word problem. Notice I've set up the KWS for you. There are 2 steps to this problem. It first tells us that Elena has $15.25. She was given $2.75. Let's look at that first. You can notice she started with the $15.25. You need to understand that she was given $2.75. So the first step is going to be adding on to your bar model. 15 25 hundredths, or $15.25, plus $2.75. Go ahead and add those 2 now. She then spends $12.99. So whatever your answer was first, you're going to subtract the $12.99, and that will be your final answer of A, B, C, or D. Select it now. Number 11. Write 76 hundredths as a decimal, and take 1 6/10 and write it as a decimal as well. Helpful hint, the 1 is a whole number. For number 12, you'll be comparing fractions. Make sure you line up decimals and fill in the holes. 24 hundredths must be lined up vertically so that you can compare it. And you should also line up 1 7/10 with 1 97/100 so that you can fill in the holes and compare it now. Number 13, write 62/100 as a decimal. Continuing, write 62/100 as a fraction. Number 14 is our number line question. Don't forget that you can't use numbers on a number line that have tenths and find a spot with hundredths. So make sure you're dealing with an equivalency here. Where would the correct x be? Would it be here, which we're going to say is letter A? Would it be here, which we'll say is letter B? Would it be here, which we'll say is letter C? Or would it be here, which we'll say is letter D? Which, A, B, C, or D, shows 19/100? Number 15. Write this decimal as a fraction. Number 16. Write this decimal as a fraction. Number 17 is a conversion. Take these, some are in word form, some are in fraction form, and write them as decimals. First, 6/100. Next, 5/10. Third, 4/10. Then 3/10. And finally, 33/100. And our final question, order these numbers, 78/100, 200, 42/100, and 6/100, as well as 5/10, from least to greatest. Remember, you can't compare them if they're not all hundredths. So make the adjustment and then write it from least to greatest. Which one is your lowest, second, third, fourth, and then my greatest number? Thanks so much for completing the decimal test. I hope you did great.